At one time, Sam McCrory was Britain's most wanted man.
I'm a good friend, I'm a bad fucking enemy.
This notorious ex-terrorist from Northern Ireland now lives in exile.
I want to find out what happens to a terrorist when they've lost the cause they're fighting for.
I'm not proud of what I've done, but it had to be done. I was dedicated to it.
They say one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. I'm going to find out for myself.
This is my local town. That's a fucking brilliant wee town.
Oh, you like this town, yeah?
Oh, brilliant, mate. People in it are really, really nice folk. And we're just heading up to my wee flat. I've been in it 7 years. I've only had one bit of hassle. So there's 2 guys trying to kill me, trying to shoot me dead outside my flat one night.
Okay, that's all you fucking need, don't it?
It's a Mark 5. I'll stop an AK-47.
A Mark 5, yeah?
Yeah.
So let's stop a bullet?
Yeah. Fucking hope so, it'll work.
I was going to say, don't really want to find
just
out,
put
really,
it up over your head here. There you go.
One of them ones, yeah? So you just whack that underneath your top, yeah?
Yeah, that's all.
God, I won't feel very confident in that if someone's going to take a shot on me.
That's it.
It's still going to prop her out, though, isn't it? You're going to go over, aren't you?
Well, if really right fucking clever, they'll shoot you in the head.
Yeah, mate. A mad thing to have in your house, though, isn't it?
That's just a way of life.
Yeah, of course.
It's just like that. I haven't more. I only more when I went to Belfast. My dad was in hospital. I come up on this Shagger Road, and my mates went out here, put that on, because there was a largest feed on. And I put it on, put my jacket up over it, and that was it. And then they just said, take it back with you, and it's fucking lying there. It's not illegal.
Yeah, of course.
It's fucking illegal about it.
Yeah, of course.
But Sam lived a double life. Not only did he have to fight to protect his country, he had to fight to hide his sexuality. Being gay at the time in Belfast wasn't accepted, and being a terrorist made it even worse.
So you're openly gay, yeah?
You are.
Yeah. And what was that like in the UDA? I mean,
well, that was like a double life, because I found it very hard. Because see over there, because of the political situation, the sectarian situation, gays, they weren't needed. It was like, here's another problem. You know what I mean? There's enough fucking political problems. Who are these people? I think some of my close friends knew. You know what I mean? But it was very hard to keep inside yourself.
It must have been really tough.
You know what I mean? It was dead secretive. And plus, I had to watch where I was going.
Of course.
Because of who I was and where I was attached to. But obviously, because your tattoos and all. You know what I mean?
The danger is real, but Sam wants to show me what he fought and nearly died for. To understand his new life today in exile, I've got to go to Belfast to see it with my own eyes. As Sam gets closer to Paul, he's more worried about being stopped by the police. Even though he's doing nothing wrong, he could still be detained for hours under the Prevention of Terrorism Act. And just when he thinks he's made it on board safely, disaster strikes.
Whoa! Don't film it, don't. I'll take it off you, take the camera off you.
Sam's been recognised by a policeman and stopped.
Have you any identification with you at all?
Yeah.
Just handy. Thank you. Thanks, sir. Thank you very much. Thought I recognised the jug, that was all. Been a while, Sammy.
It has, it's been a while.
Thought I recognised the face.
I know, I noticed you selling there,
I just wanted to satisfy my curiosity.
Of course you did. Of course you did. Thanks a lot.
How long are you over filming?
Just a day. Just a day. Coming back tomorrow.
With any hassle?
Nah. Just going to do my documentary and that's it. Back home.
No problem. Right, we'll let you get on, gentlemen.
Thanks a lot, sir. See ya.
Thank you.
You noticed my face and I'm wearing sunglasses. You look at that photo, that was me 10 years ago. Look at me now. A father, shaved head now, I have a tattoo on my face there. So I have no tattoos, but he still need me. So strange, isn't it?
I'm hearing firsthand that the potential death threat is not exaggerated.
So do you think that the likes of Skelly would be welcome back here?
No.
Never?
Never. Not all of what's happened. You know, definitely not. Them boys will just have to stay away. And anyone who left Belfast to go with Johnny Dyer and all. They've made a decision and they'll not be welcome back.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there was a young lad who went along with him and he was told he was safe to come back and he came back and they killed him. So that's a message to the rest of them.
Yes.
You know what will happen.
Fucking hell. I know he's a bit paranoid about coming back here, obviously, for obvious reasons now. Whether I'll be a target because I'm with him, I don't know. I don't know.
To keep the two religious communities separated and prevent sectarian murders, huge concrete walls were built, known as peace lines. Some are 40 feet high and over 3 miles long.
Really understand how much hatred there is when you have to build a wall to separate human beings at the end of the day. You know, it's pretty drastic measures. And it's only when you see it and how high it is when it really hits home, you know? Sad state of affairs.
And Sam decides it's safe to visit his old stomping ground. This estate was the power base for C Company, the most feared paramilitary unit the Troubles had ever witnessed.
Different memories coming here. I've actually don't even give it much thought anymore. But this was my old stomping ground, this place here. This was the heart and the base of 2nd Battalion C Company. But sadly it is no more. Used to be our office, now a house, but it used to be our office. This is where everything took place. Organised street demonstrations, military operations. This was it all here.
Before returning to Scotland, Sam has one last thing to do. He wants to pay tribute to his fallen comrades and friends who were killed during the Troubles.
There's an awful lot of loyalist paramilitaries buried here. This is like their graveyard.
Almost 4,000 people lost their lives in Northern Ireland during 25 years of political violence.
I always find it quite, it's quite a moment coming to a cemetery anyway, you know, so it's always a bit, whole mood changes, it all gets a bit tense, but, I mean, he's a tough guy, you know, but you can't help but think, you know, get a sense that he's, you know, it must be a moment for him to come over here, you know, he's sort of, I've left him to it, really. He's just wandering about looking for Top Gun's grave now. It's obviously a very emotional thing for him, you know. I don't want to question him too much, you know. Just let him get on with it.
It's been a sobering journey for me. I understand now that Sam was a foot soldier in a political struggle that had spiralled out of control. Death was commonplace, and lots of innocent people were caught up in the violence. When peace eventually broke out in Northern Ireland, Sam couldn't share in it and was forced into permanent exile in Scotland, where the next chapter of his life awaited as an openly gay man. Today in Scotland, Sam is determined to make the most of his freedom and live life to the full.
Sit down, you fucking behave. Yo! Got it, Link! Sit down, Link! Come here, you slippery fuck. Foxy is real amateurs. 2? Don't want blood in my hands. It's a good lad, 21 in my cut. So I'm well pleased.
After years of having to hide the fact he's gay, he's openly embracing his sexuality and wants the world to see a new side to him.
Joe! How you doing, buddy?
Hi, Joe.
Enjoying to see you.
Alright, how are you?
How's things?
Alright, fantastic. The only person I know that's gay in Ayrshire is me and him, as far as I know.
We're going for a drink and all, like, we're good buddies now. Just goes for your reputation, we have to look good. He's an icon, I'm an icon.
I'm a hate figure.
I'm a gay icon, so I'm.
There are no winners and losers in Northern Ireland's history. In the battle for hearts and minds, Thousands of people lost their lives. Some will never forgive Sam for his actions, nor will they forget. But he wants the world to see he's a changed man. His past will never go away, but Sam has an opportunity to make amends for the future. The final chapter in Sam McCrory's life has not yet been written. He's been a football hooligan, a boxer with over 100 knockouts to his name, and had his own security company which ran the door of over 200 clubs in Edinburgh. At just 17, he was Britain's youngest criminal mastermind, a teenage godfather who ran the streets of the Scottish capital, the original baby-faced assassin.
I was always a frontliner. I'm a born leader.
I'm meeting Bradley Welsh, a man who before he was barely out of his teens was feared in the ring, on the terraces and on the streets, and whose young life of crime and violence ultimately led him to jail. But whether rich or poor, one thing in Edinburgh did bring everyone together. Well, half of Edinburgh anyway. Easter Road is home to one of the city's two football clubs, Hibernian FC. Bradley wasn't a football fan, boxing was his passion, but when he was taken to see Hibs play, he was shocked by what he saw happening to his city.
Now, every time that you came to Easter Road, yeah, Rangers and Celtic predominantly, because they were the big force in Scotland, would go to every city in Scotland and they would piss all over the streets.
Take over.
And they would take over, mate. As a young boy coming down here at 12 years old, I was fearless. I was a boxer, I'd had about 200 fights, mate. And then coming here, I used to see Hibs supporters hide their scarves. And I can remember going on the train road and somebody saying, well, you better hide your scarf. And to me, that was like, what? You know, because this is my city, this is the castle that I live with. This is, you know, this is where we're from. I was never brought up to hide anything.
Determined to play his part in defending his city from the invading hordes, Bradley and his friends formed their own infamous group, the Blackleys Baby Crew.
I'm a born leader. That's what I've always done. I've never listened to other people. I've always took things, maybe partly because of my confidence. So I started to form my own wee mob, and how I done that was I collated them together, got membership cards, and started to organise them along a battalion line, yeah? And there was literally a couple hundred boys at that time. But by no means was I like just the main guy. That was the beauty about this Hibs thing. There was 50, 60 main guys. That's what our strength was. We made Easter Road a fortress.
But when it was all kicking off back in the 80s, one person he most certainly didn't want to know about what was going on was his mum. Incredibly, he managed to keep his hooligan life a secret from her and his stepdad. Like any teenager, he got into trouble with them, but they had no idea what he was really up to.
Any, you know, hint of trouble or even, you know, school reports, whatever, or just acting up, he was kept in. He was stopped for going to his training, you know, and the usual things that parents would
Kept him in the pub
would
till
do.
5 o'clock on a
We kept
Saturday.
him when we were both working.
So he couldn't go to the football.
But when England came to Scotland for an international match, Bradley snuck out and went to the game without his mum knowing. And what happened made him front page news.
You gotta fight for your right to party.
There's a picture, and it's got England at the bottom, Scotland at the top, and it's got a no man's land, and I'm standing in no man's land with a big stick, and there's a policeman grabbing me like this.
Scotland v England was a major battle, and he was a boy in a man's world who could more than hold his own.
At the age of 45, I was a great fighter. I was 8.5 stone. You know, 15-stone man's going to beat me. You know what I mean? But I could punch and I could knock people out. So I was always going to football and chinning people.
There's a few times I've seen big guys be like, who are you? And before you'd even got their hands out of the pocket, they were on the deck, you know? And he was a young boy at the time, you know?
He may have been at the centre of an international hooligan incident, but he still had to be home for his tea.
I got on the train at half-time, got back to Edinburgh, clearly the game's just finishing, and I've walked into my mum and stepdad's pub as if, oh, I've just been up to them, thinking I beat them. That morning, Sunday, it was they worked in they owned a pub, so I'd be in the pub till late at night, 12 o'clock. Sunday Mail papers came round, and on the papers, what's on the front page? Me standing on the front page, like that, hooligans and stuff like that. I had to cut the paper, yeah, take the photos of it, and leave the papers in the pub. so my mum wouldn't know.
So Bradley saw this as an opportunity to capitalise on his position and notoriety. He went into business with a company called Westland Security, who provided the muscle on the doors of some of Edinburgh's biggest clubs. But Westland wanted more contracts, and Bradley's role was to go and get them.
Edinburgh was known for, its casual thing, mate. And I just saw a wee opportunity with that there, yeah? All these bar and club owners that were sort of, hiring security to try and keep these supposed troublemakers out. So I went out there and overnight, maybe got 3/4 of the doors in Edinburgh.
Before long, the doors of most of Edinburgh's clubs were controlled by Bradley and Westland.
Because I was in the overdrive now. I was 17 years old, just turning 18, and I thought I was Don Corleone. I thought that this is it, I can do whatever I want. I was fearless, I was being predacious with people, overpowering people, and I was a kick, you know me?
Bradley hadn't just been running the doors, he also had a vested interest in the success of certain venues. He was putting on his own nights at some of the clubs and coining it in. He wanted his nights to do well and competing nights to foul, and he was in a position to make it happen. But being such a prominent figure in the city, it wasn't long before the old Bill started to take an interest in Bradley's Clubland activities. They suspected Bradley had been using firearms to back up his threats. In response, they mounted a massive police operation to take down the teenage godfather.
With the police trying to put together 6 months surveillance, and my house was bugged, they were bugging my telephone calls.
The police were closing in on Scotland's youngest gangster, and another chapter in his whirlwind life was about to begin. Prison.
The police, in their infinite wisdom, and correctly so, decided to take me up and drop me right to prison.
Great fighters always get back up. Bradley was about to do the same.
We used to say, you're knocked down, you'll never be knocked out, you'll come up again. Because you've got to, stand up and...
Just get on.
And so it was to be Bradley's first passion, boxing, that would get him back on his feet. All the time that he was involved in the club scene, Bradley had kept up his boxing, and he was not just any old contender. As Scottish Eastern District champ, he was on the verge of representing Britain at the 1992 Olympic Games in Barcelona.
He was actually on the Olympic select team, and instead of going there, he was locked up. Couldn't believe it.
When Bradley was released from prison, he went from strength to strength.
Some 12 weeks later, after being released, I fought in the semi-finals of the British and beat the last year's British champion. Then, some 2 weeks later, I was away to Italy to box against Italy, then away to Turkey to the championships, and away to Canada. So things were sort of a wee wild one.
Bradley was at the top of the amateur game and decided that now was the time to put his troubled past behind him, leave Edinburgh and become a pro. He travelled to Miami to meet legendary boxing trainer Angelo Dundee, the man behind some of the world's greatest boxers, including Muhammad Ali.
There was a Cuban guy at the same time as me in it, and he was in the ring shadow boxing. And the Cuban guy had literally just swam from Cuba to come to Miami. And there was a delegate from Miami there with him, the Cuban delegate there, and they brought him to the gym because he was an ex-Cuban boxer. And Angelo Dundee's sitting, and I'm wrapping my hands one day with my pal Kenny, and Angelo Dundee's sitting at the ringside watching the guy shadow boxing and doing a bit of bag work, and Angelo Dundee runs over and goes, "Yeah, this kid's got it. We can make a lot of money from him." And to me, that's what I've said about boxing. The people that run this game and perpetrate it, it's for money. Not the amateurs. Amateurs is great, but a professional game, it's about money. This guy's just fucking swam from Miami, and he's sitting going, "We can make a lot of money for this kid." So anyway, I found the great Angelo Dundee. He didn't match up to be the man that I thought he would be anyway.
Although he's left his criminal career behind, it wasn't until she saw my programme about his hooligan past that she started to fully understand the extent of her son's colourful history.
I mean, I was totally amazed watching that and listening to Bradley. Where the hell were we when all this was?
We were working.
But believe me, they had it well, and he's, and he knows that.
Now it's Bradley's devotion to his family that has helped him leave his past behind
So suffice it to say, yes, I'm a little mummy's boy, yeah? And I always will be, yeah? Always will be. I'm a family guy, that's what I'm about. It's for family. What else? All the money in the world, all the big cars, all the houses, all for what? You can't buy what's inside here or what you have with your people.
Disillusioned with the world of professional boxing, he opened a gym in a tough part of Edinburgh, offering the facilities and his knowledge to local kids on a strictly amateur basis.
How did this gym come about then?
Well, just obviously having a boxing background myself, yeah, I had 30 years experience in boxing, and I just thought, you know, the boxing gym, university has always been somewhere that people sort of, you know, gather and congregate, and I've just seen my lifetime experience after coming through all that criminal stuff. You know, if you train, yeah, you're in touch with yourself, yeah, it's physically, you know, your mind focuses, yeah. I just think it's a great way to touch people. I've been here for 2 and a bit years now, and we do like 300 people through the door every week, yeah? So it's demanding. I mean, that's 300 people, it's like being a social worker, yeah? People come in, they've got their own problems, but I just believe that when you train, you know, you get rid of that part, it's a great way. Physical activity is the best. Any sport, doesn't matter whether it's boxing, judo, karate, whatever, any kind of physical activity is going to touch somebody.
Now, physical activity is not one of our strong points, but Bradley and the crew insisted. It was time for me to put the gloves on and have a little go myself.
Get that left foot forward, then I want you to look like a shot. No, so fist. Take your time, tell that left hand to come and hit that. It's in the middle, it's just a deltoid, it's an easy jab. Wait, fucking fantastic. Watch this, so boom and pull back. Wait, go, wait, and again, wait. You fucking Danny boy's done this before, mate. Double.
This was hardly what I spent my days off doing, and I was starting to wish I smoked a bit less.
Look at the spots. Go. Not bad, but you never looked at the spot.
He's certainly a tough taskmaster. I can see that he still has the glint of a fighter in his eye, and now he channels that fighting spirit into helping others in his hometown.
Right, lift up. Look, no, too low. Who you fight? It's fucking, look, West Ham Millwall, look, fucking what's happening? Up here, mate. Wait, up, wait, back, boom. Wait, now wait, bingo!
Needless to say, Ricky Hatton won't be having any sleepless nights.
Well, I'm so unfit, mate. It's unbelievable. I need to get up here, mate, I tell you. You know what I mean?
I'd probably struggle against Ricky Martin.
People that are criminals that seek to gain financially. To buy what? Can you buy your family? Can you buy your friends? When you lose your money, you lose nothing. When you lose your health, you lose something. When you lose your character, you lose everything. And that's something that we've got in abundance.
I'm in the Midlands on my way to meet a vicious cage fighter. His name is Barrington Patterson, also known as Baz.
Weighing in at 110 kilograms. He is from Coventry. Let's hear it for Barrington Patterson!
Cage fighting is a no-holds-barred mix of martial arts. It's brutal, bloody, and a very big business, with more than 300 million fans around the globe. Black belts and fancy moves are no match for the sheer ferocity of this new breed of fighters. Barrington has fought from Russia to Rio and from Hawaii to Holland. But for him, it's not about the belts, the money, or the fame. It's all about the fight. But the time has now come to give it all up, and Barrington is in training for the biggest fight of his career, his last. But he's got a hunger for winning, so he'll treat it as if it's his first. Barrington has brought me to one of the gyms he trains at to show me his moves.
Well, me and Baz are going to have a right tear up now. You know? It's been on the cards for a couple of years. You know, I'm popping my pants, to be honest with you. Nice.
Today's lesson is in grappling, aka ground and pound. It's where you get your opponent to the ground and pound the life out of them.
You get on your fours like this.
So you're going to show me a bit of grappling?
Yeah.
So I go like that.
So you're grappling like
Yeah.
So that, yeah. You just
all that cake,
keep working each other like this.
What you're trying to do is get him in a mad around the neck, innit?
I'm trying to get there.
The size of it.
You there?
Fucking right on the calf, that is fuck, man.
Cool.
Oh!
Look at his centre there.
So
the guys on him, like...
Yeah, I've
on top of
seen
him.
this
Yeah. The guy is flat, so he can't move then. And you can bash him. And you come on there, right underneath his nose there.
Yeah.
Tap him out.
Fucking hell. So basically, that's, you want to...
Basically,
I would say there, you ain't really got to work on it too much, really.
No, there was a lot to work on.
Yeah.
Especially, like, sorry, if you're standing up.
Yeah.
Well, you get everything that starts from standing up from there. Yeah. So you can have a go. There.
Gotcha. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Then do I from there.
Today, he'll be going up against Mark Goddard. Mark is a true professional fighter, about to break into the UFC circuit. They're the same weight, but Mark is 10 years younger, so no doubt he'll give Barrington a good workout.
I'm just excited, really. There's a nice little bit of tension in the air, and I just want to see it go. You know? And if they both keep getting leery, I'll jump in the cage and I'll knock the pair of them out.
His girlfriend Lucy has come along to watch with her daughter Mia and Barrington's son, Kai. They're not fighting at full power because neither of them want to get hurt, but it's still an essential part of training for Barrington in the lead-up to his big fight. Grappling is one of Mark's specialities, so he's the perfect sparring partner for Barrington.
Go on, pace. Yeah, it's quite a bit more lively than what I thought it was going to be, to be honest with you. You know, he's got his retirement fight coming up, so he couldn't, you know, he didn't want to go full throttle, but you just get a sense. Just imagine that man running towards you, you know what I mean? That's, you know, it's powerful stuff, you know.
As his last fight approaches, Barrington has decided that he wants to give something back by using his skills to train up-and-coming fighters.
I do a lot of teaching. I help a lot in my kickboxing club, and I have a lot of one-to-one personal lessons myself. What I do, you know, like winning, and it's nice going to like our tournaments, whatever, karate tournaments, and helping the kids out, and it makes me feel a lot better. I feel nice and proud, knowing that I've helped that person to get that trophy to show his mum and dad. And it's nice to get another Barrington, another up-and-coming guy, doing the things that I used to do.
Barrington's come to see one of the fighters he's training, 20-year-old Danny Hudson. It's his first professional bout, and he's sounding confident.
Very glad Barrington could be here to watch it tonight. I plan to go out there and knock the guy out, you know, do what Barrington's taught me quite well.
It's been a high standard of fighting so far. And now, it's Danny's turn to take to the cage.
This is Danny in the cage. Let's hear it for Danny Hudson.
Get that jab going, Danny. Jab, Danny, jab, Danny. Jab. Jab, Danny.
It soon becomes clear that Danny's outclassed.
Danny. Come on, Danny.
Barrington don't look too impressed.
Where's Danny? Just over there. Oh, I've got to give him a piece of my fucking mind.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. That was fucking pathetic. Pathetic. You threw a high kick to the fucking guy with so much force, the guy was nowhere near you. You spun yourself round. What happened to your fucking groundwork? That went out the fucking window.
Gotta work on your stand-up.
Your stand-up's gone out right out the fucking window, Danny. Roll out the fucking window, man. That was shit. That's the worst thing I've ever fucking seen you, mate. As soon as the guy put you under pressure, you crumbled.
Most stereotypical hard men are all talk and no action. But this bloke definitely follows through with his threats. He won't let anything stand in the way of getting what he wants.
Rotterdam's Ahoy Arena is in for a battle. It's the location for this heavyweight terror. His opponent, legendary Dutch fighter Bob Schreiber, has come out of a 3.5-year retirement to take on Baz and is determined to make sure it's worth it.
I do everything to win. Everything. I never quit.
Both men prefer to end their fights with a knockout, so it's going to be brutal.
I've wanted this fight from day one, but at least I finally got what I wanted now, and that's it. Yeah. All I want to do now is just go on with that belt, and that's it, man.
And there's
my life story is completed.
The contest will be fought over 2 5-minute rounds, with the winner crowned King of the Ring. With the tension mounting, Baz enters the arena for his final battle. Finally, the waiting's over and the fight's on. 6 months of training is about to be put to the test. It's not long before Baz's violent streak kicks into play. This is looking like a mismatch. But Bob's saved by the bell.
Listen, you can take him. You could have won it in that round, but don't worry. He's tired, Barrington. Barrington, he's tired.
Baz starts the second round as he ended the first, on top. But Bob fights back, landing some heavy blows. It looks like Baz may have blown his chance. This is a proper tear-up. It's every man for himself, and it's turning into a street fight, just how Baz likes it. Battered, bruised and bleeding, they both make it to the final bell. It's going to come down to a points decision, and it's on Bob's home turf. I'm not sure Baz has done enough. The relief's too much for him. All his hard work's been worth it. The story seems complete for Barrington. He's gone out a winner, and for now, at least, he seems satisfied with his lot.
That's it for me, man. End of.
I'm going to be living with Bernard O'Mahony, a man whose life has revolved around crime and violence.
I was done for robbery, lots and lots of grievous bodily harms.
His CV reads like a character from a carnage-ridden road movie. Soldier in Northern Ireland, football hooligan in London, gun-toting doorman in Johannesburg.
Another decade of fucking madness, really, with gangs, stabbings, shootings.
But overshadowing all of this is his association and acrimonious split from the infamous gangsters known as the Essex boys.
That's when my phone started ringing, you know. We're gonna fucking shoot you, we're gonna fucking do you.
The Essex grapevine still buzzes with rumour and hearsay about them. And as I approach this journey, thoughts cloud my mind. I've been hearing things. People have told me that Bernard isn't all that he claims to be. And the weird thing for me is, for the first time, I've been getting phone calls about this guy. I'm being told things, he's a grass, he's a fake, he's living on the back of this, you know, this idea of the Essex boys and, you know, bad reviews really. So, you know, it's not healthy for me really to be going to meet this guy with this stuff going on in my mind. So I've got to take him at face value. I've got to give the guy a shot, but, you know, I'm getting sort of negative thoughts before I've even met him, and that's a weird, strange feeling, you know. I don't like going to work this way. But then he shows me something that turns my stomach.
This is such a weird thing.
Bernard was once a pen pal of the Yorkshire Ripper, Peter Sutcliffe.
The murder victim was identified tonight as 20-year-old Jacqueline Hill, a student who had been living in the Headingley area of the city.
Sutcliffe murdered 13 women between 1975 to 1980. Although deemed sane at his trial, he was later sent to Broadmoor Psychiatric Hospital. It's one of the most surreal moments I've ever experienced. Here I am leafing through letter after letter written by one of Britain's most notorious serial killers.
I mean, just look, I mean, it's Peter Sutcliffe's handwriting. Strange to just think that that's a man that has killed many people, you know, for many years. I have vastly changed from my attitude of 10 or 11 years ago. I was tragically misguided in those days about certain matters. I know that only too well. Oh, it's terrible. I feel ill reading it. Lots of love and fondest thoughts always, Peter.
Bernard thought his letters would result in selling a story to the papers, but nothing came of it. He realised, however, that by this method, he could get detailed information from prisoners. He began writing to Richard Blenky, who was awaiting trial for the murder of a 7-year-old child, and who Bernard believed was guilty.
Over a period of time, he wrote and told me in detail what had happened to this boy. And a week before the trial, I wrote to him. I said, look, I fucking know you lied. You did it, didn't you? And he wrote back, he went, yeah, I've done it. And I got in touch with the police, give him the letter. And they confronted him with the letter on the morning of the trial. And he's there to plead not guilty. And it's something that sticks with me. The boy's father said it was the best feeling in my life, he said, because I knew he was guilty. The police know he's guilty. To hear him stand there and say, yeah, I did it, he said it was like fucking... Yeah. And he can't appeal, can he?
No, of course not.
So it's a great... I do get a lot of pleasure out of it, yeah. It's a fucking great feeling.
For me, before I've met you, for the first time and anyone I've met, I'm getting bad vibes off people.
Yeah.
Telling me this, that and the other about you. Now, I've got to take people on face value at the end of the day.
Yeah, if I just stop you there, Danny, this is the crux of the problem. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
For no man, or what he thinks of me. I'm my own man. But there are people who say, oh, he's this, he's that, that. But I'm doing that book Faces, and I've got every top villain in the country's agreed to do it. So the people who tend to sit and talk shit about me are really the people who don't fucking matter, do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's the way I look at it, you know what I mean? When it comes to caring and sleepless nights, there is no one. There is no one.
Life's too fucking short, Bernard. Don't worry about that. Life is too short, mate. Bernard's involvement in crime has resulted in him being threatened on several occasions. One example is this incident caught on CCTV. It shows Bernard being attacked with a pepper spray outside a nightclub. His response proves that he's not someone to be trifled with. Do you ever worry about him, Bernard? Do you ever worry just because of
people who
the books he's wrote and the people he's upset? You know, which Bernard, you know, he takes it with a pinch of salt. But yourself, I mean, that's your man, isn't it? So
that phone call I was a bit concerned of. But then again, and I'll think, well, he knows how to handle them sort of people. So in a sense, not really, because I know he can talk to them in the way they would expect him to. So
and you would know if he was worried.
You would get a feeling in anyway, wouldn't you? Do you know what I mean? On something, and then I would say like, oh.
But no one's ever going to hurt you. Going to ring you up and warn you.
No.
Nah.
When they ring you up, I just
silly
go,
talk,
another fool who's had too much coke.
And I think as well, if it was going to happen, and they're going to say it was going to happen, it would have already happened in anyway, wouldn't it?
Speaking to Bernard about this, I realise we have something in common. He's been called this, that and the other and judged by people who don't know him. It's something that I get from doing these shows.
Well, it's this thing that I have to deal with is this tough guy image, right? A hard man, you know, and this is what the press label you as, right? You know, it's always in my mind that someone's going to have a pop at me, you know, thinking that, look, I'm not a mug or nothing like that. I'm from Canning Town, but I've always swerved that life, you know? And so I always read things about me, and it's Danny Dyer in brackets, tough guy actor, which is complete bollocks. And it frustrates me, you know? I'm a sensitive soul. And I suppose making these shows don't help me at all, but the reason I do make these shows is to show a different side to me. Yeah. And I'm not giving it the big one. I mean, you know, when I met people like Paddy, you know, I felt like a little girl around him. You know, and I wasn't afraid to say that, you know. It's important that I try and get that across, you know. So
it doesn't matter what Mr. X thinks of me or this gang think of me. I don't go to bed worrying about him, do you know what I mean?
I mean, was you involved with the drug side of it? Was you know, just on the door? I mean, how deep was you?
In 1986, I was released from prison and new beginning, new start. Jumped on a train and headed to Essex.
Once again, Bernard's wanderlust brought him back into contact with violence when he became a bouncer at Raquel's nightclub in Basildon.
At the time, it was like stilettos and fucking drunks, basically, you know what I mean? They're either trying to fuck each other or fight each other.
Yeah.
But everything was about to change. Something arrived that revolutionised clubbing. And it wasn't headscarves.
What it done is it changed clubbers. It changed, you know, what they was doing when they was in a club.
And the monsters turned into mice overnight, do you know what I mean? They were hugging each other and loving each other.
And the mice needed feeding. Now Bernard didn't have to worry about tear-ups and chucking people out. It was all about making money from ecstasy. He joined forces with Tony Tucker and they controlled the drug trade inside Raquel's.
I said, you know, you can have your bit on the side of the gear and I'll run the door and we'll all be happy, do you know what I mean? Because it was a big club, it attracted like promoters, rave promoters, because they thought, oh, it's a peaceful club, Tucker runs it, everything will be sweet, all the drugs in it. It worked really well.
Things came to a head when 18-year-old Leah Betts became an unwitting anti-drugs poster girl. After taking an ecstasy tablet, she fell into a coma.
Police warned that they suspected the ecstasy tablet was contaminated with another substance.
The police believed that the type of pill she had taken was being sold in Raquel's. They approached Bernard about getting hold of one for analysis.
I've got this dilemma. Is it a dilemma? Not really. There's a young girl dying. Do I help her or do I adhere to this bollocks mythical underworld code where you don't talk to the police, you don't grass, you don't do this, you don't... I knew they wouldn't be happy about it, but I said, I'll try and get you one. I said to the police, I'll try and get you one of these pills. Helps the girl, great, you know what I mean?
Bernard couldn't get his hands on one of the pills, but as far as the Essex boys were concerned, he'd spoken to the police, and so he was a grass.
But when Tucker and Tate and the others heard that, I'd so openly agreed to assist the police, that's when my phone started ringing, you know. We're going to fucking shoot you, we're going to fucking do you.
But just a few weeks later, Bernard wouldn't have to worry about any threats. Someone went after him, and they didn't miss.
I've got to ask you, Bernard, I mean, for me, you seem to know so much about it. I mean, it's almost as if you're standing there watching it happen. How do you know that this is how it took place? How do you know? I mean, well, because guesswork or what?
No. People talk, don't they? And you know, over the last 15 years, I've got a good idea of what happened. And if I knew who'd done it, I wouldn't tell, because I honestly think whoever did it did the world a favour. You know what I mean?
A came into this thinking that Bernard could be a grass and a fake. I've listened to his story, and I believe that he did what he felt he had to do. He lives by a complex code, which appears contradictory. On the one hand, he has roots in violent criminality, and on the other, he seeks to right injustices. It's not always easy to do the right thing, especially when people are looking to kill you for doing it.